Hey everybody, it's Ashley Bradley, the Intuitive Business Coach, and today I want to talk to you about what is intuition and just start to bring a definition to it and also give you some insight since all of the things that I do are geared towards business owners. How can you start integrating a more intuitive approach into your business, as well as how can you learn how to kind of trust and invite in that intuition more often. So that's what we'll be covering today. If you look up intuition in the dictionary, just do like a quick Google search, the meanings will talk a lot about that it's something that you know that's like, but there's no reasoning involved in it. And I want to say that and I think that they specifically call it conscious reasoning. So while I would agree that it's not coming from the conscious mind with intuition, I can't say that your intuition, that reasoning is never involved. But let's just look at a few different things here. I'll start first with a simple definition that just makes it very different from the more spiritual perspective, but I do think there's many angles on it. So I'll give you both and you can kind of choose your own way of understanding it or seeing it based on what works for you. But you know already that you have a conscious mind and an unconscious mind. So the subconscious, that's what I meant to call it, subconscious mind, ends up collecting a lot of different things throughout your lifetime that you can't consciously recall or understand where they came from. You'll notice that sometimes you have really great ideas or insights out of nowhere, and you could just be walking your dog or in the shower and you think of the perfect solution or the perfect thing that you've been trying to solve for weeks, and the place that it's coming from when it comes like out of nowhere, it's actually from your subconscious mind. So because all of this information is stored there, and it's really more than 90% or more of your brain power, it's the place that can solve very complex problems because it has all of this information that you've come in contact with throughout your lifetime, and it's able to put it all together and really formulate ideas and answers in a way that your conscious mind, it just can't. That's why if you ever notice as well as when you're really trying to focus on solving a problem and you just kind of feel stuck and it gets frustrating, that's a sign that you're only looking at it from your conscious mind only, and that you'll hear advice often that you just need to like let it go, give yourself some time, go for a walk, and that's when you're allowing your subconscious mind to step in. Your subconscious mind is even like picking things up when you're sleeping. It's working all the time, no matter if you are aware of it or listening to it. And so one way of seeing intuition is that it's a way that you're including your subconscious knowing and wisdom in the process of making decisions. That there's things that you know and you might not consciously be aware of how or why you know them, but it's just this knowing. You just know it. I know that oftentimes intuition is called like your gut or your instinct, and oftentimes there is a body sensation that comes with that knowing. But I would say for the majority of people, they can't quite say exactly why they know or how they know, but just that they know. And I think the reason that it gets thrown out most of the time is that if you don't have like a fact to connect it with, or a source that you got it from, that it's just considered something that can't be trusted. But there's a lot of intangible things that go on with our brains and how we recall information. And I think that we're really kind of selling ourselves short if we're not looking at that information in any way. The other way to see it is to look at it more from the spiritual approach. I personally have different spiritual beliefs that we are all energy. Energy cannot be created or destroyed, meaning I definitely believe in multiple lifetimes, that I believe that through those multiple lifetimes as well, that we do have subconscious wisdom or different things that we've carried with us. I also believe that in the concept of like higher self or soul self, right? The part of me that's greater than the me in this physical body right now. And that when I'm really connected and tuned into that part of me, that I have access to wisdom and knowledge and insight that I can't necessarily explain. If you guys have watched any of my lives, you'll know that I do intuitive business readings, that I do like Oracle and Tarot, and I do readings for other people based on their business and what I'm getting from them. And I can tell you from doing those weekly for almost a year now that I cannot necessarily explain how I have this information and this knowledge of people that I've never met before, but that I have access to it and that it's right. And so I think I know that it's hard if you can't explain where you're getting it from, but I think it's one of those things where our science has not yet caught up to the ability that we that have and the things that we can do as human beings. And so we thought the earth was flat for a long time and that smoking was healthy for us. So just keep in mind that just because it hasn't been proven by science or it can't necessarily be explained, I think that we're getting close to being able to understand these types of things a little bit better. So that's the best way. I think I probably should work on like having a more like brief definition in my own words of it. But I hope that gives you some insight in a few different ways to look at it. I know when it comes to business that a more like traditional approach to business, and I've even had people that have worked with the more traditional business coaches tell me that coach tells them it's only should be based on facts. Your intuition, this should not be a part of this. It's not, there's no facts, right? There's no data here. The thing that I find challenging about that is that when you're a business owner, specifically a small business owner who's always going and trying new things, that has no historical data and statistics available to them because you're doing things constantly that you haven't done before, that it can be really challenging to have facts when there's no factual information available, and that all that you can really pull from is facts and information about other people in that situation. Well, I am not anyone else. You are not anybody else. And so I feel like it leaves a lot out of the equation. And I do think that if the facts and the data and the proof, right, are not available, you need to use other tools in your toolkit to navigate these different situations. So I'm not saying throw out the facts, throw out the data. Those aren't important. Definitely not saying that at all. But saying intuition is another tool in your toolkit that should be paired with everything else. It should be pulled out and used, right, when there's certain things lacking and you have a decision to make, that you have a call to make about something. So I'll say that probably the thing that you might be thinking at this point is, well, how do I know if I could trust it? Like I might feel a certain way, but I've been wrong, or my guts led me astray before. Just like statistics are open to interpretation, your intuition is going to be open to interpretation as well. So I do think it's something that should be worked on and should be fine-tuned, and ideally in lower stake situations, so that you're really developing that and sharpening that tool. I will say that there's definitely many different inner voices that are going on, and so it is important to distinguish that inner leader, intuitive voice within you from the inner critic voice, because you do have different dialogues and thoughts that are happening. One of the simplest ways is to know that your inner critic is usually trying to keep you in the same place. So if it is the critic, it's something that's based off of fear, and their job is to keep you where you're at, to not let you move forward. And the intuitive side, the inner leader, if it feels aligned with your vision, your values, your purpose, then that's like a telltale sign that it's something that is coming from your intuition. Pardon me. Okay. Allergies. So, where was I? So distinguish between those voices and start to use that skill, sharpen that skill during those lower stake situations, whether they're involved in business or not. Just start to put different hunches or thoughts or ideas out there and notice when you're right. Notice when you are right, how you received that information. For some people, it will come in as like, I just know. I don't know how to explain it, but I just know that this is true, and there's a lot of conviction that comes with it. For other people, it comes more through their senses, like through emotions or feelings in their body, body sensations, and that gives you some type of emotion or trigger that then gives you information. For other people, it might come through more like signs or synchronicities, things that other people tend to keep mentioning or you keep seeing, and if it keeps happening, that it starts to be pointing you in a certain direction. Like, for example, like if 3 people over the last week and a half have told you should write a book, and you've been thinking about writing a book, that could be a sign, kind of like an intuition of, okay, there's something here, might want to follow that. Maybe I should really look into this and take it seriously. I know another way, which is kind of similar to just kind of having that inner knowing, is there's times when a thought will repeat, that it like almost won't go away, and it's very persistent until you act on it or do something. So those are a few ways that you could be receiving information, or it could be something that's totally different. But the thing is to take some chances on intuition and to start actually throwing things out there. Like if you have an intuition, for example, about another person, a lot of times we hold that information back because we're afraid of being wrong or looking like a weirdo. But when you have that gut feeling or that knowing about somebody, just start to throw it out there, because that's the only way that you're going to start to build a case for your own intuition and start to see how you receive information by putting it out there. For me, again, taking the more spiritual path, like I did that through development circles. I just tend to be the kind of person that hangs out with like healers and psychics and other people, and really doing readings for other people that I didn't know was the way that I actually built that intuition. Might not be for you, right? But I do think that it doesn't matter what type of business you're in, your intuition should be a part of it. It can be on your terms, and it should be used alongside of those other skill sets. So I hope this helps. Let me know if you have any questions or what your thoughts are in the comments. And if you have not yet subscribed, I'd love for you to subscribe. I am putting out new videos every, I guess Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and we'll see when baby comes in 10 weeks. I'm going to try to keep up with it as much as I can, or I might have a little sidekick with me, but come with me on the journey. Bye, everybody.